And the winter time is time for winter projects. But before we start doing any projects on Joy, we're gonna prepare Joy for the winter time. So there are a couple of things that we want to do today. "40 knots. Look at this. And the reason why during the winter time we do not sail here in the Med, besides of course the lower temperatures, is that without much warning you get very strong winds, and that leaves you very much exposed whenever you're out there if you're not in a marina.
Nieto.
Our first week in Marina Valencia was a tense one. I cannot begin to tell you how many times I had to adjust the lines just to make sure that the sugar scoops were not hitting the pontoon. After getting this warm welcome here, it was time to dive in and complete the top items that I had to perform right away on Joy to prepare her for the winter time. And the first thing is to remove the Genoa. The reason why we remove the Genoa is because we don't want the Genoa to be exposed for UV lights for the entire winter time. We're talking about 5 months. We're not going to be sailing much, so why not put down the Genoa and store it so for next season it's ready to go, and it will be just a matter of putting it back up. It took us about an hour to put the Genoa down, fold it, and stored it away on the starboard hull side. Although our Genoa is not a very large one, it was great to do this task with Patricia. So as she lowered the Genoa halyard, I would tuck it away and fold it the best I could. Picking a day with very little wind also helped us complete this task much easier. Even though we have a large locker to store our sail, as you can see it here, it is already getting full. Since it already hosts our Genoa, the Code Zero, the Gennaker, all my kite surfing gear, and our personal bags. The sun can ruin things, so what we're doing is we're getting all of our lines, we're removing it from the sides where we keep it stored normally whenever we're sailing, and we're running inside of the cockpit, so it's not in direct exposure to the sunlight, which can really damage the lines. So the idea here is to properly stow all of the cables away from UV rays. I'll put something on top of it. Just to make sure that we don't have any UV exposure to the lines here, so that way we don't have damaged lines for next season. So it doesn't take a whole lot of time to care for those little details on the boat, and that way you have like your gear pretty much preserved for the following season. So just completed taking the sail down, storing, putting the cables away. So now we'll move into the water maker. Another very important thing to do during the winter time is to winterize your water maker. If you're going to be using it on a constant basis or running like salt water and turning it on every 2-3 days, so there's not a need for you to winterize. But as we plan to travel a little bit here in Europe, like a week at a time, 10 days, we would like to winterize. So we have ordered some solution to put inside of the water maker so we can preserve the membranes, and the water maker is ready to be used whenever the next season starts. Our Code Zero finally arrived. We're gonna do a test sail later on to see how it performs on the boat. But pretty much this is the sail that we were missing here on Joy. We have a Genoa that really serves us well with 140 square meters, and this Code Zero is going to help us with angles a little bit tighter. So this is going to be very good for next season. So we're excited to test it. Já vem rodinha. Black water tanks. We're already very careful with our black water tanks as we try to rinse it with fresh water once a week or every 2 weeks. But for the winter time, we're going to put some solution inside the tanks so it can, if there's any solids or remains that are there that are like too hard to be expelled whenever we press the button to remove all of the black water, it gets dissolved, and which avoids smell, or it can even avoid some issues that we may have in the future. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pretty much block all of the exits, put this blue chemical inside that dissolves all of the solids that may remain inside, and we leave it like for 24 hours before we put fresh water, empty it once again. So this is like a treatment that we do, in my opinion, should be done every 2-3 months, but sometimes whenever you're cruising you don't have time to do that. So for the winter time, it is another thing that we want to do to winterize our boat. Run the engine with fresh water. Some people do run the main engines with fresh water. We're not gonna do it because since we're gonna be very close to Joy here at the boat, we're gonna probably be turning the engines on every week or every 10 days just to maintain it running. But one thing that we're gonna do is in our dinghy, we're gonna run fresh water on the dinghy, on the engine, on our 20 HP Honda engine, just to make sure that doesn't we don't have like salt water inside of the engine, which can ruin things for next season. Did you catch anything?
Ai, pesquei meu dedo, me ajuda.
So Patricia decided to put some chicken here to see if the fish is gonna bite, and we have lunch. You need help?
Vamos tentar de novo. Onde coloca a isca? Em cima ou embaixo?
At the bottom, but it needs to be very secure so you won't lose it.
Foi.
Meu
Deus, calma aí.
How much?
É um tubarão.
Olha lá.
Vamos, amiguinhos.
So as I can see, you're feeding the fish. All right, good deal.
Agora eu coloquei uns 4 pedaços aqui. Quero ver se não pego. Vou até mudar de lugar para ver se eu consigo. Tem que esperar baixar um pouco a isca para puxar. Não. Cansei de alimentar os peixes. Vamos ver. Quem pesca mais? A técnica dele. Aprendeu onde isso no YouTube? É que o vento não tá ajudando, o problema é o vento.
Olha lá.
Meu Deus. Chega. Não sei. 5 quilos de frango, 0 peixes.